Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Yami, and I wanted to cover today's showcase for Ashes of Creation. The archetype I am probably most excited for was revealed today, and that is the Bard. You can see it standing here with a floating spellbook as its weapon, and this is one of the most well-done archetypes I've seen on this game yet, so I just want to go over the basics of it with you guys today and get your opinion on it as well. Now, first thing you're going to notice, or at least I did, is the guy with the shield there is not actually crouching. That is the first time we're seeing the Dunir race in Alpha 2, which is a sort of dwarf. And I think it is absolutely hilarious that the kite shield is covering pretty much the entire body of the dwarf. That's personally the race I'm going to be playing. I'd like to be a dwarf cleric and a dwarf mage. I want to have two separate characters on that, so I'm really looking forward to that. But man, after today's showcase, I might make a bard as well. This is honestly some of the best visually and gameplay mechanics wise MMO gameplay I've seen in a long time. So let's dive into it. So towards the end of the showcase, they did show a little bit of group combat involving the bard, so I'll just have that running in the background while I talk. But the first bard mechanic I want to go over are the melodies. You can see all 5 of them on his bottom hotbar there. 2, 3, F hyphen, and equals, and these are just proximity based buffs. They all have a 30-meter range, and they do separate things. I'll have the effects up on screen. What he just did right there was a dance. That's a separate bard mechanic. I really love how they incorporated music and theater into this character. It has everything: mobility, magic, healing, instruments, dance, everything you could ever want in a bard. And bard is such a fundamental archetype for an MMO that always gets slept on. It is the buffer. It is what you're supposed to have to win group-based combats. MMOs are always so lazy. They always lump these bard buffs into either a cleric or a tank. Like with New World, we had Fortify clumped into tanks, ultimate ability, and also Fortify clumped into heals, and then the Oblivion from the Void Gauntlet gave Empower. So those were always lazily clumped in to the same boring tank and cleric. A lot of other games did that as well. And just really quick, if you've been enjoying the gameplay, consider signing up for Ashes of Creation with my link in the description down below. It is the easiest way to support the channel, and we appreciate it very much. And also, if you've been regretting your choice of not purchasing an Alpha 2 key to participate in the upcoming Alpha test, they have announced they are reopening sales for that at an undisclosed date in the future, so keep an eye on the Ashes Marketplace if you're interested. And also, the Alpha 2 has been pushed back to October, which is stupid, but I get it. Take your time, guys. But as you can see, with these melodies alone, you're giving your team 5 different buffs. Pensive Melody will give your team mana restoration, which is going to be a big deal in this game because every class uses mana. Even the fighter, even the ranger, every class makes use of mana. As well as you're getting movement speed increased, a sort of lifesteal. You have a percentage-based chance to heal off the damage that you deal. You're also decreasing the defenses of the enemies by 10% with Menacing Melody, and you're giving increased heal efficacy to your teammates, which does synergize well with the cleric. Everything is sort of meant to work together in this game so that no archetype is useless, and so far it seems like they're doing a really good job of that. Even though this is still an alpha and I've personally not tested anything myself, everything that I'm seeing from the outside view looks incredible. And the next bard mechanic I'd like to talk about are the dances, which is the theatrical aspect of this character that I really do love and I think they did an amazing job on. These are once again proximity-based buffs and debuffs, but they are much closer quarters than the melodies. These only have a radius of 5 meters, but some of their effects are pretty powerful and they do synergize well with other bard abilities. First off, we have Mesmerizing Dance, which essentially puts everything to sleep within a 5-meter radius of you, and this synergizes really well with his Shift 6 ability, which is Dark Lullaby. I'll try to show some footage of that. When that damages sleeping enemies, it does not wake them up. Normally, a normal attack would wake up an incapacitated foe, but with that, you're dealing spirit damage, and it does not wake them up, so that's some pretty nice synergy, and it has great visuals as well. Next up, we have Nimble Dance, which grants Nimble and Pep. Pep is essentially haste, increased movement speed, but you know, you got a little pep in your step, so I think they chose a good name for that as well. Next up is Shielding Dance, which is essentially a very, very small heal and a stack of shield, which is essentially fortified to every target within the 5-meter radius. And lastly, we have Maddening Dance, which looks like just a standard damaging ability. though it does apply Humiliated and Demoralized to the enemies as well. Now, concerning Bard mobility, which is a pretty hot topic considering Bards are very high priority targets in group-based combat, they did not fail the Bard there, thankfully. You saw that little dash he just did, I'm sure he'll do it again in a second. It's called Flourish, the ability, and you can build up 2 charges of it that passively recharge even if you only use 1, so hopefully you never really run out of them. Now on the surface it just looks like a basic dash, but it's actually a very special mobility tool because you can change your direction in the middle of it at very, very sharp angles to break people's ankles, get around corners, and break line of sight. It is an awesome escape tool. It also grants you a stack of pep, which, like we said, increases movement speed. So don't have to worry about that. They did not fail the Bard in terms of mobility, as I'm sure this Bard will be very squishy and, like I said, a very high priority target. Another one of the Bard mechanics are the anthems, which I am so glad they took advantage of and included this in the Bard's kit, because no game ever touches this layer of buffs, which is attack speed. Every game just sleeps on it like it's not a flat-out DPS increase. Well, with the Anthem of Alacrity, aside from a beautiful visual and sound effect, you're getting a 25% increase to attack and casting speed on whatever teammate you cast it on. It is a channeled ability and can only be cast on one teammate at a time. However, I can't state how glad I am they included that, because that is a surface of buffing that never gets any play, and we're seeing it right here in the alpha version of this game. And really quick, before we get into the final and coolest Bard mechanic, I want to mention the basic ability Quick Wit, which is a really simple, but I gotta admit, pretty darn cool ability. It has a dual purpose. If you cast it on a friendly, it gives them a small stack of healing and a base heal, which is very small. But if you cast it on an enemy, you throw a rotten tomato at them. Can you get a more theatrical attack than that? I think that is a beautiful addition to the Bard's kit, and something I personally can't wait to use. I really wasn't planning on making a Bard, but man, I gotta say, it just looks so much freaking fun in this game. And now onto the final ability. If you look at the top left corner under his health bar and mana bar, you'll see 3 red masks. Those are stacks of Torment, and the stories each give you 1 stack. When you build up 3 stacks of Torment, you can read a saga. So essentially, you're reading a story, getting a torment, read, 2 more stories, get 2 more torments, and the stories have their own buffs as well. The 2 that were shown were Conflict and Destiny. Conflict gives nearby party members within a 30-meter range increased physical power by 10% in the last 30 seconds. And the other one is Destiny. By the way, you cannot have these active at the same time. You sort of have to pick and choose. Nearby party members gain Destiny. Physical critical chance increased by 15%. So do you want increased crit chance or flat increased damage? Who knows, there could be weapons that deal additional crit damage, and that multiplier might get pretty nasty, so I'm sure there's situations for both. But once again, these are just proximity-based buffs that also give you a stack of Torment. Now, when you get 3 stacks of Torment, you do get to cast Saga, which is, I guess, a longer story, as Sagas normally are, and that is that Dragon Breath you just saw right there. It is a huge, scorching, cone-shaped dragon attack that has, again, a pretty beautiful visual and does, I'm assuming, a lot of damage, although they're only level 10 in this showcase, so we're not really seeing the full damage potential, but I'm assuming it's pretty powerful because it looks darn cool and it takes a long time to build it up. So I know this wasn't a comprehensive overview of the Bard and Ashes of Creation, but I just wanted to give you guys an idea of what it's generally about if you didn't manage to catch the showcase. By the way, this showcase was 2 hours of just straight Bard footage, so I understand not everyone has the time to sit through that. But hopefully you got the gist of it from this video. Consider leaving a like before you head out, and please let me know what you think of the Bard in the video description down below. If I had one criticism of the Bard, it would be that there are too many healing spells, which not only comes across to me as a little bit lazy, but also it kind of obsoletes the Cleric, or has the potential to obsolete the Cleric if there's really good Bard players out there, and they figure stuff out, as MMO players always tend to do. So that's some ground that I think Intrepid should cautiously tread on, but other than that, it looked gorgeous, and once again, I'd like to know what you guys think as well. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys with another Ashes video, probably. Because there ain't nothing going on New World.